Welcome to the Simply Real Life podcast. I'm Sarah, the founder of Simply Real Health, here to help you simplify, amplify, and elevate your life. This show is for those of you who want the real talk on how to live a more intuitive and intentional life, a life that's healthy from the inside out, and one that feels more effortless, aligned, simple, and more alive. We cover it all, from health, wellness, mindset, motherhood, daily habits and rituals, to business and relationships, creativity and growth, and tiny tricks to feeling your best, and the energetics behind it all filled with personal stories, unfiltered conversations, and of course, answering all of your burning questions, all in the way of simplicity and keeping it real, so that you can create your own version of your healthiest life. Let's do it. Hello, welcome back to the show. I'm so glad that you're here. Okay, we got a juicy one today. I'm loving all these questions coming in. If you have a question that you would love to hash out on the podcast, I would love to hear from you. Send me a message or a DM over at Simply Real Health on Instagram. I love seeing the kinds of things that you guys are working through and thinking about and curious about, wanting a different take on. I love it. So in today's episode, we are going to talk through some big tips for the mamas around breastfeeding. And this is a topic that I have written about before on the blog. There's a huge long blog post I did after becoming a mom for the first time with my son, Noah. And since that's been, around 6 years ago at the time of this recording, I've also had 2 other kids. So now have the experience of 3 different kids. Breastfeeding all of them, have had different experiences with each of them. And I just wanted to put together, while this is fresh for me, while this may not pertain to you specifically, maybe you know a friend or have somebody in your life that is about to have a baby or has a newborn or they're in that stage or season. I just want to record this right now and capture everything while it's still fresh, because you really do forget. I really forgot all the tips and things in between each of my kids. And then it was like this refresher. And it's also a topic that I feel like is not talked about before your first kid. Unless you are in the vibe of wanting to read all the books and do all this research and take all the classes. Like, that was not me. I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but when it comes to things like kids and having babies and pregnancy, I wanted to experience it for myself. I did not want to have other people's opinions or shoulds or lists of things that they needed. I wanted to experience myself. I wanted to figure it out. I mean, it kind of goes with my personality. I want to figure it out. I want to be the one to work through things. I don't want help. I just want to do it all on my own. Pluses and minuses about that trait, but that's neither here nor there, not for this episode. I will just say from the get-go that this can be a very emotional topic. This can be something that is deeply sensitive. And so I'm just going to speak from my own experience, and knowing the background on this might help just a little bit. With Noah, my first son, he came out, my milk did not come in for 2 weeks, which is a very long time. And I knew nothing really about nursing, about breastfeeding, about what to be doing, what not to be doing. I was just kind of figuring it all out as I went. I just assumed that it would be natural and easy, and it was not. So he was born, and then he just kept dropping weight quickly, rapidly. It was a little bit scary. I didn't feel scared, but the doctors were scared. So I had to keep taking him in to get weighed and checked and trying to teach him how to take a bottle. I was taking milk from my friends who had babies. I was using their breast milk. They would drive it over to me in the middle of the night. I was used to trusting my body and just really confused why my milk was not coming in. What was going on? Was something wrong with me? And so I just really feel for you if you or someone that you know is going through a season and you're like, what is going on? These are the things we can't predict in pregnancy, whether it's the baby or it's the latch or it's your body or it's the production of milk. It's like, you just don't know what you're working with until you're in it. And just, I wish I could just wrap my previous self in a hug and be like, here's what you're missing. Here's what you didn't know. There's things that might make it easier. And so that's really the purpose behind this episode, of some things I maybe wish I knew. So I had a trickier time with my first. Eventually, through all the things I'm going to talk about today, eventually got to the place where I was pumping and he was nursing, and then he was nursing from me. And then when he got to 6 months or 9 months, I started supplementing with some formula too. So he was breastfed, bottle fed, and had some formula mixed in there. So a little bit of all 3 things. And I have thoughts and reflections on those three things. For context, then when my daughter June was born, 3 years later, she was exclusively breastfed. And so much so I had to try to train her on the bottle, and then it worked for a little bit and then didn't really work, but she was exclusively nursing from me. My milk came in great. There was a lot of it. There were never any issues. She was my biggest baby. She was a great eater. It was pretty straightforward. A few bumps in the road in the beginning, which I'll talk about. And then with Rosie, she's just been such an angel. It's been so easy. I mean, so effortless and easy. And when I say that, please remember the context of this, where I had 2 HG hyperemesis pregnancies, couldn't drink water, bedridden for 5 to 6 months, not able to breathe fresh air, not able to do anything, not able to eat food. And so my perspective of this being easy, my theory is that every person, whether it's trying to get pregnant, being pregnant, having the birth itself, and then postpartum, there's always going to be one stage, or maybe it's this stage, feeding, nursing, breastfeeding, formula, milk. Everybody has a stage that is very tricky. So for me, in my last pregnancy, the tricky part was not breastfeeding. And I feel like I learned so much and put into practice so many things that I had learned over the years. And then also, maybe it's her, who knows? So just for context, listening to this episode, I have had different experiences, same me, same body, but like different things going on. So with my first, when that milk did not come in, here's what I will say really helped first. One was getting a hospital grade pump. So it was the Spectra Symphony, the huge honking pump that they have in the hospital. I ended up renting that for an entire year. I probably should have just bought it, but I should have rented it for the year, but I was renting month to month. It was the only pump that worked. So I say this because every pump is so different. Now, there's so many more options, especially the wearable ones, the ones that are cord free. Back in the day, when I first had a child, that was not an option. I tried Spectra, I tried Medela, I tried the hand pump, I tried some of the cordless ones. The only one that would get any sort of milk out was the hospital grade pump. So that could be a great place to start. Playing around with that, playing around with the cup sizes even to see what works, to see when you are getting milk. I mean, it is a shout out to any mom that is pumping. It is not the most fun. It takes a lot of work and you don't really realize how many hours you're going to be spending on that thing. But I think the pros of doing that is that your baby can learn to take a bottle, which therefore frees you up a little bit more. Maybe if you wanted to go do a date night, or you have some things for work, or depending on your working situation, if you're staying at home or how long your maternity leave is, it's nice to have the option of a bottle. I forget when the time they say to introduce it, but there is a window of time when they are babies. You don't want it right in the first couple of weeks, but I think maybe it's 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Please look it up. Don't take my word for it. There is a window of time where they say, try it. Not a bad skill to have for a baby. The second thing is, are you drinking enough water? Water is huge, and having enough electrolytes in your water, which for me is tricky because I can't do stevia, and that's what so many of the electrolyte mixes are for. But even like a pinch of sea salt or squeeze of lemon can really give you a lot of a natural electrolytes. Think about this, like the milk that you're producing needs to come from somewhere. So the amount of liquid that you're drinking is almost equal to the amount of liquid that your body needs to turn it into milk. So you need a lot of water and so much hydration. Electrolytes, I found the brand Trace Minerals, which are drops. They're not flavored, not sweetened, but they work really well. And it's the most affordable way to do it and get electrolytes. It's a little salty tasting, so just be aware of that. And then also there's a brand, Paleo Valley has if you like more flavored, like a lemon lime flavor or watermelon, they have it and they sweeten it with monk fruit, which is at least a little better than stevia, in my opinion. Still a kind of intense taste, but being hydrated is a huge part of milk production. Okay, here's one thing I will also say. The thing I was very resistant to and rolled my eyes at, and my doctor, who I love so dearly, she's a naturopath, a pediatrician, she looked at me when I came in after birth and she said, "You've dropped too much weight to produce milk." And this is not to trigger anyone. Truly, I was not really hungry after birth. I didn't gain a lot of weight because I was so sick. I looked pretty normal. After giving birth, I looked pretty much like myself. And she said, "Listen, I'm going to tell you something." She's like, "I know you're into food." She knows what I do. She has my cookbooks. She's amazing. She's like, "You're going to have to keep at least 7 pounds on you if you want to be able to nurse." And I was like, "That's not true. I'm eating healthy. It's not that I'm not eating. I'm eating real food. I'm just eating more like I normally do." And she was like, "Some people's bodies need a lot more than what you're probably eating. It's not based on your hunger, which was really hard for me to wrap my mind around. That usually what I teach is around eating when you're hungry and disconnecting from the time it says on the clock or when other people are eating or eating out of habit or eating out of routine. And I really do listen to my hunger and I eat full meals. I just don't really tend to snack much. She was like, I'm just saying, if you want to try to breastfeed, there are certain people's bodies where you need to be eating a lot more than you probably think that you do. It's beyond your hunger. Like, you're needing to eat at pretty frequent intervals, probably every 2 to 3 hours. You're needing a lot of nutrient dense foods. And then, are you eating enough grains? Are you eating enough protein? Are you eating enough healthy fat? And I was like, yeah, whatever. I feel fine. I'm not hungry. I feel nourished. I'm eating real foods. And then I went home and was like, all right, well, I might as well try. I'm trying everything else. Let's just see. And really did take a conversation and a real honest talk with myself of what is more important to me. Do I want to eat how I normally eat and maybe I don't produce milk and I have to be okay with that? Or do I want to try this and I'm willing to maybe keep 5 pounds, keep 10 pounds on in order to be able to feed? Is that what I want to do? And ultimately I decided, yeah, I want to try and do this. I want to set up his gut microbiome as best I can. I want to set up his immune system. I want to give this a go and try. I'm telling you, I think that this is a huge thing that nobody talks about, like huge, that maybe eating more than you think that you do. And then my hunger started to catch on. As soon as I started producing more milk, then it was like my body needed more. And then it was like, oh, right, this is what we're doing. Like, my body got the memo. This is the way we need to eat. And so now I'm in this place of, if I'm choosing to breastfeed, I know that I need to keep a couple extra pounds on me. I need to be okay with that from a vanity standpoint, from a mental standpoint about how I feel about myself, that my worth is not connected to my body or how much I weigh, like my purpose. And this is for me. Some people have different opinions on this, and your answer could be different. It doesn't have to be the same, but just thinking through honestly what it is for you, what's going to make this the best experience for you, what's going to be most aligned to your values and how you are ideally wanting this to go. So for me, I just have to be okay with the fact that my body needs to hang on to more of me to be able to produce milk. I'm like, not in the season where other things matter as much as that. And so that's a choice that I had to make. And so starting to introduce and incorporate things like more grains, which typically before I got pregnant, I had SIBO. Grains were not great. They'd make me feel bloated. They'd make me feel tired. They gave me low energy. But hey, what do you know? I was in a different season of life. My body had changed cellularly. I needed different things. Trying to breastfeed, grains were awesome. They felt great. At least once a day, having oats or quinoa mixed into a salad or having some gluten-free sourdough bread. It's different in every season of your life what your body needs. So eating enough overall, maybe eating more past the point of your pure physical hunger, I would say is a hot tip. And then for some people, it's more protein. For some people, it's more healthy fat. We always need veggies. We always need some protein, some type of grain. But your intake is going to be higher, and what you need to consume, of course, if you're wanting your output to be higher. Some people have the opposite problem where they can't eat enough. They're hungry all the time and their body burns through it so quickly. So it's just figuring out and knowing that those differences exist, I think, no matter what. Another thing I will also say is that I was very on top of, for my first, getting a tongue tie looked at, or a tongue or lip tie. And for all 3 of my kids, they have had that. And so with my first, it took me a long time. I was like, I don't want to have the frenotomy, which is where they cut and release the tongue tie. That sounded traumatic. I was like, why would I do that to my baby? I was very resistant to it. I waited for a while, which is not great. It just makes nursing worse. It makes the latch harder. You get blisters. It's painful. So if you're having a lot of pain, I would say just get a few different opinions. Lactation consultants vary wildly. I probably saw 8 different people, and like half of them said there was a tongue tie, other people didn't. They all had different advice and positions and different things to try. But like something is painful or getting blisters or it's raw, you're getting clogged milk ducts, get the baby's mouth looked at. It can solve so many problems. And now I look back at that and I wish that I did that sooner. And so that's what I did with my other 2. Like almost immediately within the first week they're born, if there's something going on, let's release it now. Anytime you go through that procedure, it's for their long-term life. They can speak better. They have better ways that they can chew food. They can digest food. Their speech is not impacted as much. They're breathing at night. Hopefully they're nostril breathers, not mouth breathers. So there's so many things that go into it the more I researched it. But anytime you do the procedure, it takes 7 to 10 days for it to heal, and you're going to have feeling like you're backsliding. They're not able to latch again, or you're not nursing as well. Like, it's just going to be a little bit of a bumpy road. And so to me, doing that and taking care of that as soon as possible, I think for my other two, made it so much easier. So having that looked at, getting lactation involved, getting a few different opinions, so helpful. Okay, the next thing I will say is there was this common thing, and I think it's maybe an older theory, of letting them snack and then fall asleep and then little bits and fall asleep. Instead of, what I ultimately found so helpful was really working towards full feedings each time. So from both breasts being drained, so meaning that you need to continue to wake them up or put clothes off or blow on them or whatever to keep helping them wake up so that they can actually get used to a full feeding, that you get drained from each side so that your body then gets the memo to make more milk, was so helpful. Instead of little snacks here and there, and then you're not really on schedule, and then it's hard for your body to know how much to make and how often, versus full feeds from both sides each time that you feed is the best tip I could probably give. And it takes a little time in the beginning because they're so sleepy and so cute and they just keep falling asleep. It just takes a long time. But I think when you get into that rhythm, it helps them, it helps your body, it helps the milk production, it helps them sleep better when they're fully fed instead of just snacking all day. These were all things I had no idea, like none. Hopefully this is helpful to hear about. Okay, the last thing is that there is so much to be said about your nervous system in this time. Your body has been through a very stressful, traumatic experience of giving birth, especially for your first child, can be a much more longer birth, could be more complicated. I mean, your body's just getting the memo on a lot of things here. So being patient with it, really working on like your nervous system and your energy and your thoughts and your beliefs. Are you constantly steeped in fear? Are you thinking through the worst possible scenario? Are you putting a lot of pressure on yourself? Is it a lot of stress? As much as you can, being kind and knowing that you're going through your healing. You are not sleeping a lot, so that makes your emotions all over the place. Your hormones are all over the place. But like doing the little things that you can to make sure you're getting your nervous system relaxed, whether that's a nap or it's a shower or a bath by yourself. I still remember after Noah was born, the times that I would be doing a bath by myself felt like I had checked into a spa for 24 hours and maybe the bath was 20 minutes, but finding ways to remind your body to continue to relax, continue to heal, continue to think good thoughts of like, my body can do this. My body is capable. It's strong. I can help it. I can take care of it. I can take care of my baby and I can take care of myself. But that gentleness doesn't come very easily to a lot of us. And so keeping a pulse on where are your thoughts at? Are you in more an abundance thinking mindset or in a lack and scarcity? And catching yourself in those moments where you are being hard on yourself, or you do have these impossible standards or what you thought it might look like, or maybe it's not working to breastfeed. It's taking much more of your time and your space and your energy than what you wanted or what you envisioned, and it's not feeling good. Listen to that. So any ways that you can be taking care of yourself, like take walks, take baths, take showers. Your self-care is going to look so different now than it does in any other stage of life. And it's about these little tiny moments that you give yourself. And that would be my best advice. It has to be about little doable things that you're sprinkling into your day versus the expectation that it's going to be an hour long, or that you're going to be able to do something every single day or be in this predictable routine. It's not really the phase for that. So finding little ways that do nourish you and regenerate you and help you feel like yourself again, I think is so, so important. I hope that if you are in that stage and if you have been listening to this, that you take a deep breath, because your energy around it, I think, predicts more of your experience than anything. And we can always choose the energy that we have by the thoughts we're thinking, the way we talk to ourselves, the perspective that we have. Are we seeing this in the larger term view of things? One of my favorite things that one of my best friends told me is that she said, you know what? This feels like such a big deal right now because it's everything. But in a year from now, and for the rest of his life, you're going to feed him such good food. He's going to be a great eater. He's going to love food. This is such a short window. Think bigger. No matter what way you choose to feed your baby, whether that's breastfeeding or it's bottle feeding, it's a combination, maybe pulling in some formula, doing the European formula a little bit cleaner. Like whatever way that looks, you also have to think about this is for the short term. You're trying to do the best that you can to have them fed, to take care of yourself. And then also so much more of their life is going to be impacted by food. And when you start to introduce foods and teaching them how to eat, like what a lifelong skill that is, more so than what you can only see in that moment. So I hope this is helpful to hear and just maybe gives you a few other ideas and things to try and test. And overall, I just want to remind you that you are doing great. You are doing great, and you are the perfect mom for your baby, and figuring out as you go is what we all do. Sometimes you have to try different things, but that's what it's about, right? Is learning yourself and learning your baby and trying different things and figuring out what feels like a good fit, what doesn't, what is helpful, what is not helpful. I think that's just a skill that we all need in motherhood and in life too. I think that's all I've got. The breastfeeding tips, I would love to know if you have other things that you feel have really helped you, whether that's mentality-wise, whether that's outside support or consultants or helpful tips that you have. I would love to know that. So come over, find me at Simply Real Health on Instagram, send me a message or DM. I would love to know the things that have also been helpful for you, and we can have a full conversation about it. Okay, you guys, I hope you're having a great week, and we'll see you back here next week.
If you enjoyed this episode and want more like it, make sure you're subscribed to the Simply Real Life podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and maybe share it with a friend or two. That would mean the world.